So let me ask you another question, because one thing that was very, very sure, or one thing that was very clear from this year's HotCo in particular and last year's, was that your part of the world was definitely having a moment from a development point of view and from a transaction point of view. And I think the institutional money was beginning to look at Hungary and the related areas as a good bet for investment. Considering now everything that you said vis-a-vis debt obligation and debt forgiveness, what impact do you think that's going to have on the market for development from next year if banks are perhaps going to be coming under strain because, you know, they had to take on all of these obligations till the end of the year, which is a good thing? Is that going to have a negative effect next year and the year after when it comes to lending in the sector, or what do you think is going to happen?
Well, that's an excellent question. Um, if you look at the government support for new development, it is suggested that development is not stopping. And in fact, we've been actually quite busy
Mm.
during this last coming to 3 months now. And everything that we have done has to do with future development. Um, in one sense, it sounds quite morbid, but it's actually logical, because whenever you look at development, we are looking out in the future, minimum 3, but actually probably 4 years.
Yeah.
It sounds morbid because you have, in the meantime, especially in Hungary, starting January, when people have to start catching up on their debt obligations and all other obligations that have been put on hold, because the government has actually introduced quite some additional measures in terms of specifically to the industry, payroll tax relief up until June 23rd, in various formats. One ended in April, other one had been extended until the end of June, almost the end of June, and some other measures that are helping them, but they only help if you have actually business coming through, if you have revenues,
Right.
because then you don't have to pay any tourism contribution. And also an important aspect, as of January 1st this year, we had lowered the VAT on accommodation from 18% to 5%.
Wow.
Not only 5%, but actually in order to help not to reduce the government budget, the inflow of revenues to the government budget, they also added to the 5% a 4% tourism contribution. Up until the end of the year, you don't have to pay this 4% tourism contribution. So the lower VAT is obviously helping as well. So we were really looking to have an incredible year. So there have been other measures as well that have been introduced. But to answer your question regarding bank financing, I think that will remain a very challenging, or that will start to become very challenging. Because you're right, Central and Eastern Europe has really enjoyed an amazing run on the economy, and that has had a very positive impact on tourism, not only in Hungary, throughout this whole region. Yeah. Hungary and Budapest specifically, and we do have a lot of hotels in the pipeline. Some of these hotels will probably not materialize. If they were only on the planning board, then they will probably be canceled because of lack of availability to finance. But those that have financing available, they will definitely continue to come to completion.